Welcome to GCCars, my name is Eric and this is the 2022 Hyundai Ioniq 5 Ultimate. This Ioniq is a top spec all-wheel drive long range version and is part of a batch of EVs coming out from traditional manufacturers that are actually serious competitors for Tesla. Unfortunately, Tesla doesn't give out their cars to journalists anymore because they don't like even the slightest of possibilities of somebody saying anything negative about their cars. So we can't compare it to Teslas. Although, by the way, if you have a Tesla and you are in the GTA area and you want me to review your car, that'd be awesome. Hit me up on Instagram, link is down in the description below, or on my email, which you can find on the channel info page. But we did drive the Mach-E GT just a few weeks ago. Of course, that was a GT, which is $30,000 more Canadian than this one, but there's like lower versions, so we will be able to compare that. And that's what we're going to do today. And if you end up liking this video, please make sure to subscribe and hit the bell, because it costs you $0 and about 2 seconds every time, but you get more content in your inbox every week, and I get more cool cars to show you. So it's a win-win. Anyhow, let's talk exterior. Do you guys remember a couple years ago when EVs kind of started to actually become good? You know, the proponents were like, yeah, but EVs give the designers so much freedom. There's going to be so many cool car designs. And then we got the EQS, and it's like, yeah, that didn't really work out, did it? Until we had this new batch of EVs that are actually good looking, because what this Ioniq excels at, I just want to, before we go into the details here, it is about 30 inches shorter than an Escalade, but the wheelbase is only 2.8 inches shorter. This has a huge wheelbase. It's comparable to mid-sized trucks, while still being just as short as a compact SUV. That comes visually, makes it just look nicer, and it has some driving benefits, but we'll get to those. Let's go into the details. Obviously, the pixelated look, right? That's what the Ioniq is like super famous for, kind of. It does look like a hatchback on pictures, funnily enough, but as soon as I stand next to it, you'll see, wait, it's actually a crossover, and I think it looks fantastic. Admittedly, these 20-inch wheels, they're kind of ugly. I'll be honest, they're kind of ugly, but it gives you more range, so that's how this works. One interesting thing, though, is the hood. Because if you actually look to the sides, you will see that the hood goes all the way to our fender arches. Unfortunately, what we find under this hood is nothing really important to us. I mean, of course, there's like some battery stuff and like motor stuff, but the all-wheel drive version here in North America does not get a frunk, no front trunk, which is pretty disappointing because, in my opinion, every purpose-built EV should have a front trunk. This one doesn't have one, unfortunately. Anyhow, moving on. We got the typical triangular kind of sight shapes that every Hyundai comes in these days. Looks very good. Quirky door handles. And then moving to the back, we have a quirky little charging port because it's electric. That's so extra, but I kind of love it. And then the back, where we got the pixel, kind of like the pixelated tail light bar, like that. It looks like the light bar. It looks pretty cool. I love how this looks. I absolutely love how this looks. Unfortunately, we don't get a rear wiper, which I would like because it's not quite as sloped. But then we got the aluminum look. No, this thing looks sharp. This thing looks awesome. I love it. People love it. I get so many thumbs up. A lot of people complimented me on it. So, yeah. Good job, honey. Good job, honey, on this. Let's go on the inside, though, and see if it's just as nice on the inside. Let's talk Ioniq 5 interior. And does it look nice? Look at this. I really like how this looks, especially in the white interior. Admittedly, I don't know if I would spec the white interior because it's pretty hard to get keep clean. And there's already some discoloration here on the sides, which is, that's just what happens in with a white interior, but it looks stunning. Like, look at these seats. First of all, we got these kind of like these perforations on there, which make it look nice, but then we have the red piping, kind of like this red-black checkered piping. This, like, if I would just see the seats, I would have said this is a $200,000 car from the looks. Of course, from the feels, it's not, but this looks really good. Funnily enough, though, once you actually start touching everything, you notice that it's not that expensive materials-wise. I mean, every touch point is very nice, and it's like eco-friendly leathers, because in an electric car, everything's like eco-friendly, right? So it's like eco-friendly leathers. and all that, but all this is all plastic. It's very soft plastic, but that's still plastic. Here we got a bit more leather, and then we have more plastic down here, but it's all done very well. Following what I always say is, it doesn't matter how much money you put in the interior, it matters what you do with that money, right? It's more like creativity over material, like having like expensive materials, and that's exactly what they did. Despite not having very expensive materials and like having a lot of plastics and a lot of spots, this is a really, really nice interior, and it looks great. It feels good. It is ergonomically very comfortable. They nailed this. They nailed this. But other than that, steering wheel, it's a 2-spoke wheel, which is interesting, but I had to get used to like the 2-spoke and like not quite being round, but once I got used to it, it was very comfy. We have a quirky little shifter here, but clears up space in the middle because this whole center console slides forward and backwards. First of all, you have a lot of space up front. We can put purses or whatever. Then you have more space here, like huge amounts of space. You have a bit more of like a private area right there. Big enough though for wallets and everything. Briefly tech up here in front, the infotainment is absolutely amazing. I've been talking about the Hyundai Kia Genesis infotainment for a long time, and I always love it. It has so many features on it, but it's so fast and it's so intuitive to use. There's not much more to say. It's great. Great interior, great infotainment. Our cluster here in the middle is pretty good. We have plenty of information on it. I like the designs they gave it for all the different drive modes, especially Sport. Looks really cool. Then you get some mood lighting, so our Bose system has like lights around. We have more ambient light in here. A little worried about this part though, because we don't have like a traditional handle, right? We just grab it here to open and close the door. But this will be a spot where like crumbs and all that and dust will easily collect. But I think it is big enough for you to put in like a vacuum, like the nozzle of a vacuum. So you should be fine, but you'll have to vacuum this probably a couple of times if you own this. But no, this is a well thought out interior. It is really nice. It is visually stunning in this white. 2 thumbs up. 2 thumbs up for me. Let's take a look at the back. Okay, in the back of the Ioniq, I love the glass roof. It's a really cool glass roof. It makes a very airy cabin, and it just makes it feel very, very wide and very large and very, very nice. Very nice spot to be in, especially with the white, right? Of course, we do have green. I always suck at this. I don't know why, but I'm always terrible at getting these in. It's like a constant theme in my videos. There we go. Now they're in. And material-wise, although we have the same up front. Interestingly enough, we don't have accent stitching here. It is red up front, black in here. Don't know what's up with that, but I don't mind it. And then we have kind of cloth on the seats up front. We have, storage nets. We have 2 USB ports. We have a little cubby up there. We have cup holders in here. So usability is fine. Comfort is really good. Now in terms of space, right now sitting behind myself up front is plenty. 5'7" I am, so that's good. Of course, if you need more storage space, you can just slide forward. Interestingly, this goes way further forward than it actually locks in, because it locks in right here. But that's still quite a bit of sliding range, and then you can put these seats more upright if you need to. You can actually put them really upright. That's where it locks in. I would not recommend driving like this, but technically you could, but you probably don't want to have it more upright than this. This should be like as upright as it goes for you. But of course we want to have full-on space. So we lean back, we recline, we have the privacy cover right now, which takes a little space, but look at this. Yes. Good job, Hyundai. I like this a lot. Repeated seats as well on both sides, of course, because luxury. This is not a luxury car, but still. Cars are getting really good. Anyhow, trunk, and then we're driving. Aloha. So, looking at the trunk of the Ioniq, we have 27.2 cubic feet of space, just like that. And we have a pretty decently sized, like height-wise, load floor, so it's not too high. You don't have to lift anything up too high, and then it's just perfectly flat. And then of course we can also lay down the seats, and then we get 59.3 cubic feet of space, which is actually extremely close to that of the Mach-E. But because the Mach-E has a frunk, which is 5 cubic feet big, the Mach-E wins in terms of storage. Of course, also we have our level 1 charging cable in the back. If you want to plug it in at your local household thing, you can literally plug it in anywhere. But it will take forever, so you don't want to do it. But you can if you need to. And yeah, other than that, not much to say here in the back. Let's close her up. Look once more at these beautiful taillights. Let's go driving. Okay, now out on the road here in the Ioniq 5, and as always we want to start off with a launch. Traction control disabled. We're gonna go into sport mode and see how quick she goes. Alright, stop her down. Yeah, there we go. Oh, EVs are always fun. EVs are always fun, even the slow ones. I say slow, first of all, let's go back into normal, thank you. Because this all-wheel drive model, we have a front and a rear motor, which produce together combined 320 horsepower and 446 pound-feet of torque. I mean, that's not like that much. I'm not trying to say 320 horsepower isn't a lot, but compared to some other EVs, and for example the Mach-E, which had 480 horsepower we've had recently, it's like, it's not a number that blows you away, all right? That's what I'm trying to say. But the cool thing with EVs is because you have instant torque. I think that was the dirtiest laugh I've had on this channel yet. It's still pretty fun. I think according to Car and Driver, this goes 0 to 60 in about 4.9 seconds, which is like, it's quick. So this is quick. This is quick, of course. And it is very usable power. It's very smooth to drive at the same time. Of course, like talking about EVs, it's kind of like a little less to talk about compared to like internal combustion engine cars, because there's not much engine characteristics or even transmission behavior to talk about. We normally talk about transmission here, but I'm just gonna showcase you the drive modes, because right now we're in eco mode, and that kind of makes the behavior a little different. So I'm flooring it in eco. See? And I'm gonna floor it in sport mode. You see how it's like much more instantaneous? Sport mode gives you that instant torque that you know from an EV, while eco and normal, it's like in steps, gives you, they give you a little less instant of a response. They kind of smoothen it out, so it's a little more comfortable in city driving. So even if you maybe hit a pothole and you accidentally like depress the press paddle a little more, you don't suddenly jerk everyone forward. So no, like power-wise, this is totally fine. This is more than fine. You have plenty of power. Transmission-wise, we only have a single-speed transmission. And it wasn't really snowy, so I couldn't really talk about. I didn't really need to talk about all-wheel drive really here much, but you have all-wheel drive if you need it. And of course, if you want to save some money, there's still a rear-wheel drive version available, which is honestly like my number one reason why I really start warming up a lot to EVs. It's because it essentially eliminates front-wheel drive, and everything like just becomes rear-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive biased, and I love that. Because normally this would be like a front-wheel drive hatch, this would be a front-wheel drive based SUV, which would be fine, but it's like the dynamics are so much better here. And we're gonna keep talking about that in a second. Let's do suspension test, because at around 62 grand Canadian before incentives, you of course want it to ride pretty nicely, and with about 4,000, well, just shy of 5,000 pounds actually in weight, it needs to handle a lot of weight, right? It needs to handle a lot of weight, kind of bouncing up and down, and it's very comfy to ride. You will notice that it's a little lofty, like especially if you're on the highway and there's like bigger bumps, you'll notice it's kind of jump up and down a bit. But it kind of smoothens everything out. Like smaller, sharper bumps, you do feel like a bit of a like a tiny hit every single time. But overall, no, very, very comfortable, very comfortable. But I was, what are we doing? What are we doing, sir? What are we doing, sir? Okay, we're turning over. Yeah, there's an indicator for that. It's just on your left-hand side. You can find that later on. No, I was talking about rear-wheel drive, right? And love it. Love that everything becomes rear-wheel drive, because it's just so much more fun. If this would be an internal combustion engine car and you would push it around corners, it would understeer, which is kind of easy to regulate. But it's like there's not much fun in it. So now even this, which is, it doesn't have any sporty intention. It's not meant to be like a sports SUV or something like that, unlike the Mach-E, right? Especially because we had the GT variant of that one. But even this, it becomes fun to drive. But my words are only worth so much, so let's go into sport mode. And of course traction control cuts us, but you can just rely on it. But you see how it just kind of pushes itself around, like the rear just gets the torque on corner exit and just pushes itself around. You can actually slide this a little. Not that I would do that, but you can slide this a little. Not saying drifting. I haven't tried that. I seriously haven't tried that. But if you're in faster corners, on throttle, oversteers a little, it is fun, dynamically fun. The steering is absolutely dead though, so you have no clue what's going to happen. But I don't know, the car reacts pretty well, the chassis reacts pretty well, so you will know what's going on, because you have 100% linear throttle essentially, right? Very easy to manage, like slip and all that. So that's the cool thing about EVs. That's what I'm trying. That was the point I was trying to make. It's just fun. Like every EV can be fun, and that's awesome. Anyhow, this is the EV I think that kind of, by the way, shifts me on opinions about EVs. Anyhow, NVH, important thing. One second. I love EVs. Oh my god, I'm gonna do this every single time. Like, as EVs gonna be more and more common on this channel, every single time I will be flooring them. Just so you know, so get used to that. It's just way too much fun. No, but noise is very good. Noise is very good. I like this. It's nice and quiet in here. Like you're very well isolated. There's a bit of wind noise, to be fair, which is like the most noticeable. Not much tire noise even here on these winter tires, but it's decently quiet, which allows the Bose sound system to shine. It's a good sound system. Like, not entirely perfect, but very enjoyable still. Anyhow, that is a good segue into tech, and Hyundai has a way of integrating a lot of tech into their vehicles, and it just is so seamless that you don't really notice how much tech there is. Other manufacturers put less tech in, but it feels more techy because it's just not so seamlessly integrated. Hyundai's always doing a great job. I love Hyundai for that. First of all, of course, we have the highway driving assist. We have Hyundai's active lane centering, and we have their adaptive cruise control, which all work really, really well. Last week I drove the Civic, and I said the Civic's lane centering might be just as good as the one from Hyundai. I don't know if I can keeping with that opinion. The Civic was really good, but this Hyundai, like, once again, this Ioniq here, it works so well. It's just to clarify what I'm talking about, I'm talking about the semi-autonomous system, which actively steers for you. The cool thing is, just like here, just like in the Civic you can activate it anywhere as long as there's lane markings. You're not bound to cruise control, you're not bound to be on the highway. Wherever you are, put it on, and the car steers for you. You just keep your hands on the steering wheel, otherwise it'll beep at you. You're not supposed to take your hands off. You don't even have to give input in this one, but you have to hold it a little tighter for it to notice that your hands are on it. This is a great thing to have. And then lastly, we do have a huge HUD, like genuinely huge HUD in this thing. It is probably like, on the windscreen overall, maybe almost a square foot tall, square foot big. And it gives you so much information, which is really nice, because it shows you there's like augmented reality navigation, so you have like big arrows kind of like go in the directions where you need to go on your windscreen. And if you have adaptive cruise control enabled, it'll show you like a little turquoise, I think turquoise it's called, little blob essentially underneath the car in front. So the system at all times tells you, okay, I have the car in front acquired, I know where it is, and that's where I think it is, which just gives you more safety. I like systems that allow you to kind of monitor them more than just looking at the road, but also, you get a bit of an internal look at the systems, which I like. So yeah, no, great system, great HUD. As always, Hyundai has great tech. With that being said, I think it's time to send it off to the final thought. Oh wait, no. We of course can customize our regenerative braking. I drive in, normally I would prefer zero regenerative braking, so if I go throttle, we're literally just coasting, like you would put it in neutral in an internal combustion engine car. But the problem is if I brake now, it's actually not going to charge. Or according to my gauges at least, it's not going to charge, which is a little annoying. So I have to put it into level 1 recharging. That's definitely my lane. I have to put it into level 1 recharging, because if I let off the gas now, I'll let off the throttle, now. First of all, we pretty much have like engine braking in a combustion car, but if I brake harder, it adds that battery power back into the battery, right? We want to keep as much energy here as possible. Now, there's level 2, there's level 3, there's one pedal driving. I don't like this, I don't use it, whatever. Like, if you want to use it, fine, go ahead. That's personal preference. I just don't like one pedal driving. And I know it's supposed to be more efficient, but I just realized, I don't know, my brain can't wrap around how that's supposed to be more efficient, to be either constantly braking or constantly accelerating, instead of just, oh, the light in front, like 200 yards in front is red, let me just get off the throttle and coast. Anyhow, that leads us over to charging. I'm just not straight up not going to bother with telling you what theoretical range radius could charge at. You either charge at home at your own level 2 charger, and it'll charge overnight and you'll be totally fine, or you charge at a public station. And if you have a public fast charging station you want to use in Toronto, really only things you're going to find are 50 kilowatt hour chargers. Could this charge faster? Theoretically, yes. Will you find it? Not really in the real world. There are a few, yes, but like, realistically, I don't encounter them. So I'm going to give you the number that you will actually see, that you will actually, encounter, and that is 20 to 80% charge in about an hour, a bit less than an hour, which is fine. And consumption is 22 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers for me, compared to 32 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers in the Mach-E. But the Mach-E was a little more powerful, I drove it a little more sporty, and it was colder back then, so it's not an apples to apples comparison. But that being said, I know I'm throwing a lot of data at you right now, but we got to wrap this up. I'm talking a lot here. Let's now send it to the final thoughts. Okay, final thoughts on the 2022 Hyundai Ioniq 5 Preferred Long Range with the Ultimate package, or for everyone in the States, simply Ultimate. This is really, really good. This is a really good SUV, a really good EV, and I think in general, just a really good car. It looks great. The interior is really nice. And yes, the materials technically aren't the best, but if you're not, you only notice that if you go down into details. It feels great, it looks great, it is well done. It drives well, you have a good amount of range. I got about 350 kilometers of range out of it. Still not that most ideal scenario and conditions right now, so you can get 400 out of it. And like I say, with all EVs, unless you have your dedicated spot to charge, not like a shared one, no, you got your own place where you charge, don't bother with EVs. But if you have, then this opens up a lot of possibilities, because at a price of $61,840 Canadian, $42 Canadian, pardon me, your sale price somewhere on your screen, and that is without incentives, because it depends on where you are and when you watch the video. That's all the incentives. It's different every time. Right now in the interior you get $5,000 off. That's actually a really good value. That's a really good value. It's not only a good value for an EV, that's a good value like that. I really like this, and I think this is the first time I could actually recommend an EV over most internal combustion engine cars, and just genuinely tell you, if you have a reliable way of charging, you want to have a compact SUV, this might be the choice for you. I really liked it. In terms of comparing it to the Mach-E, well, that's unfortunately a little difficult because, like I said, the Mach-E was a GT, so it had 160 horsepower more, it was more sporty, it was $30,000 more. I think both of them look great. The Mustang had the nicer interior. The Mustang was pretty techy and it had Blue Cruise, although Blue Cruise just didn't work for me, and the screen in the middle was just too much. This was better to use. But I think there's merit for both of them. I like both of them. Whichever you pick, you're good. I think honestly I would probably take the Mustang because I like it a little more, the sporty image, right? But this Ioniq is awesome. Really, you can't go wrong. I like both of them a lot. Tesla, like I said, who knows? Can't tell you. They won't let me tell you. And for that reason alone, I'm like, no, don't go to a company that doesn't let people review their product. That's like a big red flag. No, but good job, Hyundai. I really enjoyed the Ioniq. It was a fun week to spend with it. I was very pleasantly surprised. Well, not surprised. I expected a good product, and it's a great product. No, this is good. This is good. EVs are finally there, as long as you can charge them. Anyhow, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, like I said, please make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you get more free videos in your content inbox, subscription list, whatever it's called on YouTube, every week. And additionally to the review, we have 3 POV test drives, one on the highway, one at night, one in the city, where we test various different little things about every single car I test. So if you want to know more, there's some right there. On your screen you'll find some other reviews that YouTube suggests for you. And other than that, thanks so much for watching. I hope you liked, and I hope I'll see you in the next one. Thank you, and goodbye.